Hello, everybody. I am Rico V53, and I am joined in the booth today by Storm.
Hello.
And the race timer has started in the race room, so we will be started shortly. Today we have Sasquatch versus Stachifer.
With Sasquatch being mentored by Baja, while Stachifer is mentored by Marcus Mask, who himself ran us yesterday, if you were there.
I personally do not know either of these runners, so I am very much looking forward to seeing what they are capable of today.
Stachifer going. Since we need a bit of synchronization on the runs there, probably done in a moment. But for now, Stachifer going first. And we're starting with just a missile expansion. So, no logical implication, but always nice to find early. See what the hint is. Tells us mobile bomb in Aegon Temple. Well, that's a vanilla bomb. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before, actually, surprisingly.
I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah, we get a lot of delay. It's kind of strange. Anyway, Sasquatch fighting. Starting the Albert fight now. I think the audio is correctly synced now. Oh, maybe not. No, there's still delay. Chef is on it. Stachifer opting not to use missiles on little guys. Usually a good idea to use missiles on them, as they have a good chance of dropping at least one missile pickup. Just speeds things up.
Yeah, but on the other side, I can see not wanting to use up all your missiles since you're going to want one for that door.
Oh, you do definitely want to keep one for the door, yes.
So one of my favorite little tidbits is that the AI for the Alpha Splinter is actually much better than the AI for the Dark Alpha Splinter. The normal Alpha Splinter will try to lead you and jump where it thinks you're moving, whereas the Dark Alpha Splinter always jumps to where you are. Always kind of struck me as like the Ing that's possessing it doesn't really know how to correctly be a Splinter yet.
I never thought of it that way, that's interesting. So we just did get a logical launcher on Albert. So we will definitely be checking that storage cavern down there.
And just another missile expansion in the ceiling, so...
Boy, won't be coming back for that one. Stachifer done with the but fight as well. Let's see, what item is on Temple Assembly side? Bit hard to tell.
Yeah, I couldn't get a good look either, but I think it was beam ammo.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Ooh, space jump and storage cabin. That's a good find.
Love to see that.
Looks like Sasquatch is going to grab that item. up there. Was it more than ammo then? Oh no, it was actually Echo Visor. Very early on. Interesting.
Early Echo Visors always make me nervous.
Yeah, it's not very clear because early on Echo Visor doesn't really have any uses, so just something to keep in the back of your mind, like what is this for? Even worse if you happen to find Annihilator as well, and then you started wondering about those Echo puzzles like Profit Path. I think we're having Initial Stachifer.
Morph Ball related upgrade in Accursed Lake. Lot of missiles this seed.
Well, not a very useful hint. We did
Thanks,
already just
game.
find them. Yes, thanks, game moment, very much. And we're on to Aegon. So the area space jump, they have missiles. I notice bombs on Bomb so I'm expecting them to just beeline it.
Yeah, that's what I would probably do in their position.
Ooh,
that looks like a Morph Ball.
Yes, it does look like there's something in my plaza.
Wait, no, that's Grapple Beam.
Oh, that's Grapple Beam. I don't think we're going to be going for that, but...
Well, we do have that Echo Visor, so maybe that is for the Grapple Beam.
That wouldn't make sense because you would need Screw Attack to get that. And Screw Attack basically removes any use for grapple, so most likely that will not be useful. Stachifer is climbing Mining Plaza, while Sasquatch is fighting the pirates in Mining Station A. I don't think you looked at the item up there yet.
We got a glimpse, it didn't look important.
And as we expected, it's gonna be an early Bomb Garden fight here. There's no reason not to go for it right now. Fortunately, it seems we'll have to leave with the audio delay. That's how it is. Sasquatch is doing the little climb there, using the little wasp hive that exists in this layer to grab this E-tank. Which is a good idea, especially when you don't have any E-tanks yet. And if they plan to do a jump guidon loop afterwards, having an E-tank does smooth things out a lot.
Yeah, I'd say that was worth turning around for. And for those of you curious, the reason that Sasquatch turned around for that is because that layer is only active if you haven't collected the Bomb Guardian item. So once he did this little puzzle, boss fight, that would have been gone and he wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yep, the layer after that changes to those pesky, flying, semi-invisible bug things, and the hive disappears. It is still possible to do the climb then, but it requires doing a BSJ, which is a bit harder than just jumping on the hive. Anyway, we're now onto the Bomb Garden fight.
So Sasquatch is going for a 2-cycle here on Bomb Guardian. If you hit Bomb Guardian's weak point with an uncharged shot, a missile, and a charged shot, that does just enough damage that you can take him out in 2 cycles.
Yep, because the boss actually has a few thresholds that if you pass, it will like instantly and its vulnerability phase. And if you do the just exact amount of damage, you can just kind of game those thresholds, so you are able to kill it in 2 cycles, which is quite nice. Stachifer also fighting the Bomb Guardian, so those runners are pretty much matched so far. We're gonna check what Aegon Energy Controller has. Ooh, that is something. That is a Morph Ball. We'll be able to scan that. Oh, it's the Boost Ball. Interesting. Boost Ball on Aegon Energy Controller.
At the moment, that doesn't really get them much.
Yep. Well, it does get them send processing actually in logic right now. That would be the only thing I can think of at the moment. Now I guess they have the choice is, do they want to do a jump guardian loop, or maybe go to the labs, or even possibly poke back up Temple Grounds? We'll have to see what they decide to do. Does look like they're headed towards the jump guardian loop.
Yes, Kara, our bombs were vanilla, which means no duping DMT today.
That was only a light ammo expansion on Ball Access A, nothing special. And we're now going to beat up a few pirates, activate this portal, and we'll be on our way to see Jump Guardian. No light beam or no power bomb to quickly get rid of these guys, so well, all we have is charge shots and missiles. They can hurt quite a bit, but thankfully we already have an E-tank at least. On this room you can actually do a little slope jump here and jump straight to this and bomb it, because the game only checks for the last one to be destroyed to actually activate the portal, so you can kind of skip the entire puzzle here. Just jump to the last one, blow it up. So, well done.
Yeah, that was very nicely done. Much better than I can do. I always fall out of that tunnel when I try to do the jumping thing.
Yeah, I think on this one you have to not be too close to the bomber ball, and then you just walking forwards, and that way you kind of stay stuck to the wall until you end the morphing animation, and you just have the time to lay the bombs. Stachifer also going for jump guardian loop, so we have no deviation in routing yet. Sasquatch will be checking what's the item in Crossroads, which is often a good idea to check. I believe that's just ammo. And it's
now with Space Jump, an E-Tank, and Boost Ball, movement in Dark Aegon's not particularly that dangerous, but it still can sneak up on you with how fast you lose health.
Yep, that's why getting that E-Tank is very nice. And Stachifer did the same thing and also picked up the extra E-Tank. Early Dark Aegon is always interesting. There's a lot of health management to do, and an important thing to know is if your life is below 20% of your maximum energy, you actually have a very high chance to drop a golden health pickup. And so, for example, if you have no E-Tank, then you would need to have your life below 20, and if you have one E-Tank, it would be below 40. And you can actually use that to like purposefully take a bit more damage and shoot one of the blade pods when you're under that threshold. Get one gold pickup and basically get all your life back. And that's pretty interesting. Ooh, light beam in the broom closet. But yes, it is pretty important to know that you can game the ticket system like this, and this can greatly speed up your early Dark Aegon loop like this. Finding this light beam is also quite nice, as this should make short work of the Jump Guardian. Sasquatch is trying to play it safe, not morphing and boosting through. Stachifer anyone taking a save and actually going the route through the drilling range. Which at this point is a bit slower because they do not have dark beams, so they cannot check Incash 4. But it is easier since you have all those safe areas, so probably just taking the safe but longer way.
And for those of you in the audience curious as why Sasquatch is firing his beam at an unmoving statue, Jump Guardian's hurt box is actually already loaded into this room. That is, in this cutscene, you can see he's coming from right in front of that statue. He's basically just sitting there invisible. For any Prime player in the audience, this is similar to how the game handles Omega Pirate, where once he goes invisible, he's still in the room walking to those Phazon pools. Now,
also, yes. Oh, sorry.
For some reason, you can't actually kill Jump Guardian before the fight starts. He will always have essentially 2 health left. And is that Dark Visor?
Yep, that is what I wanted to mention. There is Dark Visor in Junction site. We cannot pick it up yet because we do not have Spider, but we definitely want to keep that in mind.
That is great knowledge to have.
Sure, as I found a Dark Visor to often be a pretty sneaky item that likes being well hidden. So I always like finding it early. Sasquatch finished his run around the Jump Garden loop. We did find a light beam in there, and now we have knowledge of Dark Visor, which is quite nice. Now we have to see what he decides to do. Meanwhile, Stachifer is taking care of business with the Jump Guardian as well. And we have a red key in the transport center. Dark Aegon key. I took the save, and now we have another decision. Now, whether either we go back to Temple Grounds for a bit of cleanup, either we choose to go to the labs. I don't think we've gotten any particularly fun hints so far. Looks like Sasquatch is choosing to go back to Temple Grounds with a little bit of cleanup.
And this is the right way to leave Aegon most of the time, because this puts you out much closer to the Hive, so you can do those 2 Hive Chamber checks pretty quickly.
Especially as right now they don't really have a way to GFMC anyway, so the only things I can go back and pick up right now are the Dark Missile Trooper, Hive Chamber B, and possibly Communications area if they want to. But they wouldn't be able to go any further as they haven't found a PB or don't have Screw Attack.
Well, this is Old Patcher, so GFMC can be in logic if Emerald is somewhere in that loop.
Oh, you are right. I did forget that this is Old Patcher, as there's no runner's agreement that we're are on this run, so we are running old patcher indeed. Which can make the... So they will actually probably go to GFMC after all. Meanwhile, I think Stachifer is also following. So I can confirm that is a grapple in Mining Plaza, so I don't think we'll see that being picked up.
There's a couple ways to kill this Dark Missile Trooper fairly quickly. We see Sasquatch electing to hit him repeatedly with Light Beam and set him on fire. You can also hit him with a charged Dark Beam shot to freeze him and shatter him like he's a Metroid. Or you could kill him instantly with a Power Bomb. There are several bosses in this game that do not have resistance to Power Bombs, because you aren't supposed to have them when you fight them.
Dark Missile Trooper only did drop an E-Tank there, so... Well, we'll take that.
Yeah, especially with no Dark Suit yet.
And he's another Dark Aegon key, so that's 2 Dark Aegon keys.
So now the question, is Worms bait, or is there something spicy there? Like, maybe a vanilla Dark Suit?
Stachifer is also following, so still no deviation of routes. And it seems like Sasquatch will be going for the GFMC. They're probably hoping to find Dark Beam, especially because doing the labs without Dark Beam is not really great. Because you're leaving a lot, you have to leave a bunch of checks behind. And it's just not very practical for movements, as you can't complete the whole ring around. So then you either end up like safe warping or walking all the way back around. So they're probably hoping they will find Dark Beam somewhere in there. Ooh, we just found a power bomb expansion, which is very interesting.
Which means you can now turn right around and get that check in the room you just left.
Yep. Oh, but layer has not changed yet, so you can bomb jump above this. Yeah. And that's a vanilla burger in there.
I'd say that's an acceptable trade-off.
This is not logical, but getting PB expansion early on is very nice. Allows to get lets you get a bunch of more checks on the way. As you go around, it unlocks the elevators to sink. Which are good options. That's Dead Ink Reliquary. It's
That was a
missile with the grid.
Yeah, so that is dead. The only 2 missile-related upgrades in this game that can be hinted are Missile Launcher, which we already have, and Seeker Missile, which you need to get there. So it cannot be Seekers in Reliquary.
Sasquatch doing deeper in GFMC. We're going to see what her crate has, and they can also check the top of the ship because they killed the jump guard. It's just missiles.
That is dupable.
Double the missiles. And now we're going to check what's on top of the ship. Since we have problems, we may also check what Wind Shaver has, and even Gateway if these runners are familiar with the dashes there. Oh, that's...
Is that supers?
Yep, that is a super missile on top of the ship. That is quite interesting.
So, that's...
Actually, that's...
Storage C.
I'm also fairly certain this puts... Oh, never mind. I was gonna say it puts Gateway in logic, but we do not have grapple or screw attack. So we wouldn't be able to pick that up logically yet.
Nor do we have Amber. But we could get around that with the super missile.
Yeah, you could come from landing side, so you could skip the Ember for this.
I do not believe there was a hint for supers.
Nope, that was found unhinted. I don't think that's anything in chamber. I think it's just a missile expansion. Meanwhile, on Stachifer's side, also still following the same path. So.
Oh, it looks like Sasquatch is actually going for this.
Yep, stashing around to manage to check what Gateway has. Which is usually a good move if you have space jump, you have power bombs, and you do the GFMC loop. It's usually a good idea to check Wind Chamber and Wind Chamber Gateway. And that's an STK.
That is an STK.
Oh yeah, we'll pick that up right now. No reason not to. How to manage to dash across. There you go. Now how to get back across, which is a bit of a trickier dash as you need to bend it forwards, else you hit the wall like that and you fall.
The good thing is that you can take advantage of terminal fall abuse on the way back, so if you just get close enough, you don't have to land it, but Sasquatch landed that beautifully.
Yep. And on the way in, you cannot abuse terminal fall. But on the way back, as long as you make it close enough to the ledge, you will respawn on the correct side.
And Sasquatch making those dashes look easy.
Yeah, some clean dashes. Stachifer is about to find out the supers on top of the ship himself. But to note that this wasn't logical yet, unless Transport A has Emerald. Translator. Stachifer is also going to check Wind Chamber, so I'm assuming we'll see dashes there as well on this side. Let's see what we have in Transport A. If we find Emerald Translator, that'll be interesting. That does look like something. Oh, that is Annihilator. That is interesting. That puts Profane Path in Logic, I believe. Actually, it puts Profane Path in Logic. We have Annihilator and Echo Visor.
Yes, it does. So Profane Path could actually be Emerald.
Yep, and that seems to be what Sasquatch is going for now. Probably just realized, yeah, that's Profane Path in Logic, and probably going back to get it now. Just have to be careful about the pesky pirate commandos. One of them can be incinerated right away as long as you shoot the beacon with the Annihilator.
And this is old patcher, so they cannot just scan the door to get the combination. But this is also not something that's randomized, so if they remember it, then...
Oh, looks like Stachifer did not do the dashes, just check Wind Chamber. Yep, you see he activated the beacon, which will just incinerate that pirate right away. And just gonna do the combination to open the lock. Obviously we don't have any suits, so we want to try and be fast and just be careful about the pirate commando. We don't want to be killed. I do believe he took a save before going there.
And with no dark beam ammo, we have to charge just to fire a single shot.
And that's just an E-tank. That is surprising. That is just an E-tank. Sally Pheasant Grounds can't really go there now because we have no way to cross. So we'll be leaving that behind. I'm honestly quite surprised that Profane Pass had nothing.
Yeah, so that means it's likely that Emerald is somewhere in labs.
I could definitely believe that. Or perhaps we found Screw Attack and Emerald is actually on the phasing ground. That could be a possibility as well.
That would actually be hilarious.
That would be pretty annoying because going back to find that Emerald would be quite time consuming. Anyway, we're now going to save warp as there is no other way out. We don't have still don't have Ember also. Might be in labs. But at this point, it's only really the labs left in logic, I believe. Or technically, I believe Hall of Combat Mastery is in logic. So Vanilla Seekers could be a
Yes,
possibility.
yeah, you're right.
It's not what I would bet on right now. But it happens. I've actually had it happen not long ago, actually. But I assume at this point they are just going to go to the labs there. Another implication of those super missiles is they, along with Light Beam, they give access all the way to Battleground and Doomed Entry. Which is nice because if they decide to use the Annihilator to enter Doomed Entry directly from the Labs portal, they will be able to get out, even without Dog Beam. We're doing a peek of Plane of Dark Warship on Sasquatch End.
Yeah, that's definitely a smart move. This can be out of the way, so if you need to come back to it, it's best to know.
It's hard to... I can't really see anything. I don't think that was anything. It looked like maybe some ammo. Meanwhile, Stachifer seems like it did not go for the Profane Path check. It's actually already headed back to Akon. Which means he's taking a bit of lead now, though he did not get the STK in Gateway. But that is a pretty quick one to get at the end of the game, since it's pretty close to the portal towards the Sky Temple. Sasquatch himself is also going back to Eagle. But at the same time, we do have Stachifer stream, well, the little we can see of it, being about a minute ahead. It's maybe something to keep in mind as well. Well, Access A is the final Dark Aegon key, so Worms is in logic now.
So, do you check Worms blind here?
I definitely wouldn't. Though something would be very funny would be Ember on Worms. That would be very funny.
Oh, yes, that would be.
But I doubt either of the mentors will advise going for the Worms right now. It is a costed check, and very often as a bait.
Oh, is that Emerald in Ventilation Shaft?
It is indeed. That was Emerald in there. Sasquatch decided to go check Ventilation Area A using that Light Beam.
That was Stash, and Stash is going in from the back, and Sasquatch is going in from the front. So it will be a little bit before Sasquatch gets that Emerald.
But it is not really useful right now anyway, so it shouldn't make a big difference. Just as long as Sasquatch remembers to pick it up later.
Well, it tells you that your supers and annihilators are now logical.
It does. Stachifer actually did not enter the labs from the back. He did went back, so I'm guessing he will enter from the front. Looks like Sasquatch is doing right now. He's actually reloading the central mining station, as that changes the layer and allows the key bearer corpse to appear, so you can actually get a hint for what's in the in-cache and battleground. And Sasquatch will attempt BSG to get up there. Perfect. And
So how that works is that essentially there is a brief window, I believe it's 22 frames after you leave the ground, where the game essentially treats you like Wile E. Coyote, where you're out floating in the air, running. So if you can gain control of Samus again within that window, you can space jump off of nothing, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you gain control is through what's called an instant morph, where the morph ball camera gets obscured so it cannot play the traditional animation of Samus morphing or demorphing. I believe that's a life support system in Battlegrounds.
Yep, that is a life support system in Battleground.
So that could potentially be a suit.
It can be indeed. The item itself was just an E-tank. We take them. And we're now headed into the command center. Sasquatch is trying to find the area. There we go. If you actually shoot that area with sand, and you will cause the door to lock. And if you leave the room and reload it after that, the whole initial layer that's on the first time into the room is gone. Which is quite nice, because that means the door remains open and you can just roll into the tunnel without triggering the cutscene and the fight that ensues.
Based on the blue glow, it appears that Stash is also going for that BSJ.
Yep, he's going for it. Sasquatch is reloading the room again. Not fully sure why. He does want to pick an item down there. Stachifer struggling a bit to get a BSJ. And ooh, that's Cannonball, I believe. Yep, that is Cannonball. It's
not really something you want to see quite yet, because we don't have Screw Attack.
Yep, I do agree with this. Might not have been the best time to pick it up, because without Screw Attack you might have to take some cannons that you could normally avoid. And taking a cannon when you're under the effect of Cannonball makes it go away. We'll have to see if picking it now was a good idea or not.
So Cannonball is the status that the game gives you when you fire yourself out of one of the kinetic cannons. How the game actually handles that is it adds an item to your inventory, and then when you hit collision, it removes that item. So with the randomizer, we can just make that pseudo item it gives you a pickup. And with that Cannonball pickup, it gives you some interesting features. While you are in Morph Ball, you are invincible. You will also deal an absurdly high amount of damage to specific enemies, like Resbits, or Chaika's adult form. Interestingly, though, this actually does essentially deactivate your boost and give you a pseudo boost.
Ooh, that's
which
a Screw Attack up there.
That okay. So, Sasquatch is rewarded for picking up that Cannonball.
Yep, I'll walk out in the end. Will not get punished.
But as I was saying, it sort of overwrites your boost. So there are actually a couple checks that you would normally do with Boost Ball that you cannot do with Cannonball. Most notably, breaking the glass to get into Airy.
Mhm.
Another one is Cannonball cannot break the wall in the save station in Great Temple.
That's a student storage C. Ooh, that's the second day in a row we get that. As the rest yesterday also had a suit right there. Attack and the suit are very nice to see. We still have no news of our Dark Beam. Next, Sasquatch is deciding to leave now. I think he might be deciding to check Doomed Entry now. No, that wouldn't make sense without Dark Beam yet. Very interesting to... So like, Baja might have told him to bail out now, the labs?
That's possible. Baja tends to route things very aggressively.
Well, we have to hope for them that Darbeam is not on not either on main reactor or send processing. Send processing is not often a major item. And well, Darkbeam is also not a very common occurrence, so I guess based on that, they're choosing to just aggressively turn back now and check on the Doomed Entry in Dark Labs.
You know, thinking about this, I can kind of see it. So I imagine they're thinking that Emerald has to be one of those 3 checks at the back of labs they haven't seen. So it would make sense, essentially, that you go through, pick up the Emerald, go grab the Annihilator, then come back here with the Supers and Annihilator and run Dark Labs.
But missile expansion on Battleground. And I suppose they will be checking Warrior's Walk. With supers. Which is... That is Dark Beam, very well played.
And once again, never punished.
Yeah, Dark Beam there is interesting. And that is definitely rewarding, the decision to bail out of the labs early before going to main reactor. We still have yet to find Ember though, interestingly. The only thing you can still get in Dark Aegon is the worms.
It appears that Stash and Marker have made the same choice to route Dark Labs as well.
Interesting.
Oh, he hasn't picked up the Dark Suit yet.
Yeah, I do find that interesting though. I think they didn't go to bioenergy at all yet. But I think that's gonna work out because that means they're going to find Dark Beam before even going there at all. Oh yeah, Inca.
Oh,
sure.
Cannonball. Yeah, so this is a lot safer than I was thinking.
Yep, indeed, yeah. Stachifer using the Cannonball to go pick up that Dark Beam in Warrior's Walk. And meanwhile, Sasquatch checking Inca 4, which is just a burger. I think the very early Dark Labs check is gonna help Stachifer overall, because I think now they're going to do the rest of the labs and probably clear it all. Sasquatch being very nice to a Lightbringer. No Lightbringer murder today. Let's see what Sasquatch does. I doubt he'll be going for the worms. Nope. we don't really want to do the worms. It's not often they have something. They take a while, and there's guaranteed to be a hint somewhere in the game that says what's on there anyway. So most of the time, we don't really want to do the worms. Now that they have Dark Beam, they can probably check in cache 1 and then pop back into the light world directly in main reactor, so they can quickly check send processing and what's on storage D. Probably what we're gonna be seeing them do. Stachifer himself is currently checking in cache 1, so these two are still shoulder to shoulder in there.
Stash is making good use of that cannonball. I would not recommend picking that item up if it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
So picking that item triggers a layer change in mining station A that spawns air pirates, and air pirates are not fun to deal with. So if you don't need to grab that item, I recommend not grabbing it.
It also forces Fading Pit to reload, which wastes a bit of time as you have to wait for the room to reload before being able to open the door and get back out. We also just had a little handshake in or a high five in a Fading Pit. And Sasquatch is now heading. Oh, seems like we're doing a little in-cache 2 play here. Because it is indeed in logic. And I was gonna say we haven't found a use for Annihilator. Actually, yeah, we haven't found a logical use for Annihilator yet. As you could reach Warrior's Walk from the normal portal without having to open the one in Dark Labs. So I'm guessing based on that, they think that since Annihilator hasn't had a logical use yet, that in-cache 2 is worth checking.
This is definitely a check you don't want to orphan if you can avoid it, because coming back here is never going to be convenient.
That's just an e-tank. That is true, but at the same time it does take a while to do that check. And it's kind of similar to Storage C's, in it often doesn't have anything. Oop. Bonking off the elevator. And those Metroids are very annoying because they love getting in the way of the elevator and it causes it to go back up right away. Very inconvenient. Meanwhile, Stachifer deciding not to go check in cache 2 and he's already going back to the light world. Sasquatch choosing to just bait the Metroids away from the elevator so they can actually go all the way down. Should just check what's in storage D, and it's just light ammo.
Who needs a phazon suit when you can just roll around in a cannonball?
And Stachifer just blew up Dark Samus. We'll probably see Sasquatch do the same thing very soon. As well, the game didn't expect that you'd have Power Bomb by the time you get the Dark Samus one. And if you manage to power bomb her, she just goes down in a sec. Before we're about to see that happen.
Also worth noting that Annihilator Beam will do an absurd amount of damage to Dark Samus 1.
Yep, that is a very good option if you don't have power bombs yet. Yep, so Sasquatch is gonna morph and just go straight into her.
Looks like Sasquatch doesn't know the manip, but still gets it anyway.
Yep.
If you immediately roll to the left, Dark Samus will always strafe left as well, and you can just run into her.
Just gonna check the item, and even if it's useless, you do want to pick it up as it forces the reload of main reactor and allows the layer to change so that we can actually check what item is in there and also get the hints from Dark Oasis.
Now that little dark crystal that unlocks the gate can also be activated with screw attack for some reason. There are several crystals that will act that way.
That's quite. I think it's just a mis-expansion in there, but it seems like he wanted it. You can actually screw attack straight into the hole to get to the end of the puzzle. They don't have spiders, so it's the only way. Ooh, life support system on Dark Oasis means it's dead, as normally this requires light suit to be able to get that. And it's just one check left in the base for Sasquatch, that is send processing, and we have boost. So. Stachifer is also checking that right now.
Yeah, the collision on that from the back is a little wonky in that it doesn't really exist. The easiest way to break that glass is just to shoot a missile at the wall, actually.
Yeah, all the floor is usually what I do. Because, yeah, the collision doesn't exist on the other side, so it just shoots right through.
And something I actually learned the other day is that the reason this morph ball tunnel sucks so much is that it's not a morph ball tunnel. They just cut a hole in the collision shaped like your morph ball instead of programming an actual tunnel.
Yeah, it is quite awful. If you try to boost to this, it will just always like stop you in your track, and it feels so sluggish. Sasquatch has finished clearing the labs. We'll see what they do now. Meanwhile, Stachifer is passing a little mobile puzzle, which is very easy with Cannonball. You can just ignore those lasers. And it's boy about to find the suit and the screw attack that Sasquatch found a few minutes ago.
Yeah, both of these runners are still neck and neck.
Pretty much. I think Sasquatch is a slight advantage. And even then, I'm not sure actually, because Stachifer did find that Emerald Translator very early on. Oh, that's right, there's storage.
And Sasquatch still has not picked it up.
Yep, he will have to. But meanwhile, he's gonna check what's in storage B. Another one we don't want to orphan. And that's Spider! Ooh, that is very good. They can actually go back to main reactor and go check ventilation area A right now. From the back. And find that emerald. I'm curious what the emerald
And they can go get that HUD system from Junction Site, which is probably what they do.
Oh, yes, correct. That is what they're gonna do right now. Dark Visor and probably check what's on Battleground. That is definitely a no-brainer to go get that Dark Visor right now.
Yeah, and that is an interesting thought that Chad is pointing out, that Battlegrounds could be the light suit, so it could be getting that Dark Visor and Junction Site into Light Visor and Battleground. Or Light Suit.
Second chance is not logical right now. We do not have the main power vault. But it's not something we're gonna see be played right now.
But this does have the effect of it is pulling Sasquatch away from that emerald.
We'll see what they decide to do. If they decide to go get it, maybe even check Spiral Treasure, even if it's not logical. Or if they decide to just bail now, though. I don't think they should bail now. Because they don't have logical access to either Sank or Torvis still.
They have logical access to Torvis.
Which
Super
way,
Missile.
Hey, they don't have Ember.
They don't need it. They can go through the Super Missile door by landing site.
Yes, but it's still an Ember gate by the main elevator.
Ooh, good point. Forgot about that gate.
I'm actually really starting to wonder if it's Ember on Worms. The only other possibility is if it's on Phazon grounds instead.
That is in logic now with the screw attack.
Mineshaft is also open right now. And
That is an E-tank.
So Battleground is dead. no light suit for us. Light suit into fitting pit could have been a fun little combination here. Oh, that's a little mistake.
Oh, that is an unfortunate bonk.
Yep, he tried to screw attack across to the E-tank, bonk into one of those invisible platforms, and trigger the fight. So I had to contend with those ing wires now. Thankfully, the power was short work with them. And also activating the beacons will just cause them to go chase the beacon like a mouse and get burned. So that could be worse. Here, enjoy your pity missile. It was where is he headed? Looks like he's going back this way. Maybe not sure. Maybe he's dating. Yep, seems like he's dating on what way to go.
Yeah, I think they were arguing about worms, probably.
Worms is a possibility, but I'd still say there's still enough checks, other checks to do first before worms. Worms on Ember on worms would be very funny.
I mean, with boost, it's not that much of a time loss to do worms if you get the worm skip. Not ideal, though.
The worm skip doesn't actually save you that much time overall, but I mean, it can be argued to go for the worms or not. Seems like they choose not to. Stachifer meanwhile getting his dark visor now. So now there's a few options. They're probably gonna go ventilation area A now using the spider. Yep, that's what they're doing. So Sasquatch is about to find his Emerald Translator. A possible play here is to go check Spider Treasure, even if it's not logical.
I would do that. You don't really lose much time, and you get knowledge on 3 items.
Yeah, I do personally find it quite worth it, especially when a spider has. That Spider Treasure just so often has something in it. Yeah, we get Dex and Camion on the way, though it is not logical. Seems like we're not doing the Spider Treasure. But we are going to be taking Sen Camion though, and I assume we're gonna see Mineshaft being poked. Well, Stachifer is also checking Battleground, so I guess they got the same ID. It might be light suit there, but they're gonna find out that it is not. Sen Camion just having a missile expansion. Stachifer is not triggering the fight by accident. He's actually headed towards... is he headed toward worms? Mineshaft is nothing. So I think at that point, the only 2 logical checks that are left to us, 3 actually, there's still Hall of Dead is still there, worms, and Phasing Grounds, if I'm not wrong.
I believe you're right.
Some Stachifer. Oh, Stachifer after getting the Dark Visor immediately went to Battleground and is coming back to checking Cache 4 right now, which didn't have anything. Sasquatch, I think, is gonna save warp. I think they might save warp to check on Phasing Grounds. Perhaps Hall of Not Dead. They're really wanting to avoid worms, like they really don't want to do it.
Grab the hint in FTA. With the way the translators have been doled out, they really don't have access to a lot of hints, so it's probably a good idea to get the ones they can get.
Though it would require a detour, because right now they are not, they don't have Seekers, so they have nowhere to get to GFMC directly from Sacred Pass.
That is true.
Stachifer is not making a Worms play either. And as I thought, seems like we're gonna see Phasing Grants being checked. There's a few things we could find there. We could find Ember. Seekers would also get us somewhere. So, that's what I'm thinking. It's probably gonna be either Seekers or Ember. That or it's on Worms.
We could still have Vanilla Seekers in Hall of Honor Dead.
I'm agreeing with the Phasing Grants play right now. I think it's the most likely one.
Yeah.
That looks like something. That's a suit, I believe. That's light suit.
Okay, with Light Suit, I think you definitely do go check
Yeah.
FTA.
We do have to do a detour now, but I would definitely check FT on this, yeah. You get a hint plus a check. Yeah, FTA would definitely be the one to do right now. As FTA, it's pretty common to have something on FTA, though Fitting Pit is much rarer to have something there, I find. M4RKERSM4SK is dead.
Yeah, it was a missile.
Yeah, missile rated upgrade. Most likely we're gonna see Sasquatch beeline FTA now. Well, Stachifer is back in still Dark Aegon. I think he's making the in cash 2 play now. He's gonna be disappointed probably. Most likely we're gonna see Sasquatch go one of the other elevators now. I'm thinking it would be pretty smart to go, to go the Torvus way, as there's two other... Oh no, actually, wait, we don't have Ember. Yeah, I'm guessing he also had that thought of, oh, let's go through Torvus so we can get the Violet hints, before realizing we still do not have Ember, so we cannot go this way. Either go left and go to GFMC directly, or go the other way. Maybe check the Vowed Hints plus Hold of Not Dead as well. I think that's what they're choosing to do. Go right. We can check Hold of Not Dead, we can check the 2 Vowed Hints. And we can also check the... also open the shotguns. Through Wind Chamber. Probably the play right now. Well, Stachifer is back from Incash 2 and found nothing.
They also get the defiled shrine hint. And yeah, looks like Stash is back.
I think he is safe warping. Yep, Stachifer is safe warping. Might also be going for Phasing Grounds. Sasquatch gonna take a save on the ship to get all the ammo back. We're gonna see what the Default Shrine has. Life support system already is dead, because we already have our light support.
Oh, and we have solid motion on Stash's side.
For how long? But, well, we can appreciate having a few extra frames. Let's see if Sasquatch chooses to check... oh no, not dead right now. Dark Aegon key hints, but we don't care, we have already found all of them.
And electing not to go for Hall of Honor Dead.
not considering the possibility of vanilla seekers. I think they're just focused on getting FTA right now. What is dead?
Quad is half dead.
Well, the fight itself, yes, but we don't know about Tumas. Oh, since that we're making a play for the hints. Which we don't have Seekers, so it will require either doing a Seeker-less duels or a little out of bounds. But it's a decent time to check them. Since we're just passing by. Well, Stachifer has not gone for the phasing ground play, I believe. Nope. Maybe he wants to check Hall of Undead? Yep, Sasquatch is gonna go for a little wall crawl. You want to get that eye out of the way, and you want to screw attack into that little morphle tunnel. Sadly, he has not destroyed the eye. That one can be quite annoying to get rid of. There you go. And it's not easy. You have to try and time your screw attack right, so you manage to get inside, like far enough inside. There, exactly like that. Falls down.
Honestly, in my opinion, it's probably easier to get out of bounds on the other side of that tunnel. Because you can just fall into that one.
Yeah, it is easier on the other end for sure. But it can be faster on this end if you do it quickly, because you can immediately jump on some sendables. I'm pretty terrible at doing that myself. And Sasquatch is gonna attempt to either jump to get all the way back up to that door.
So what Sasquatch is doing is they have put themselves out of bounds. And now every room in these games exists inside of a box. On the inside of the box, there is physics. On the outside of the box, there is not. So you can climb up the side of this box by going back and forth rapidly, and using the same premise that enables bomb space jumps to do what we call an aether jump.
I do believe the window of time is 3 frames, if I remember right.
You are correct. It is 3 frames, so it is a lot tighter than a BSJ. Watch station access.
Yep, getting the hints.
ETE.
Send cash. No, we still haven't found an Ember.
ATS.
Okay, nothing crazy so far. Whole chamber in Flawless. Central area transport west. Tallest energy controller. Right, so interesting so far. Feeding
pits.
Well, we know we have the lights for that already, so we're good. And I believe that's all.
So go mode is Amber and Grav.
Actually, I believe that is right, yes. We do need Amber for Sandcash, and we need Grav for TTE unless they can perform the wall crawl, which is not that simple. Well, the wall crawl itself isn't that hard. It's more getting the item itself to the collision that's a bit harder.
I can honestly say that this is a go mode I have never seen before.
Amber part of go mode is definitely an interesting one.
Oh, and it looks like Stash is attempting those standables you mentioned.
Yep. He's getting them.
So that pipe and those columns that the eyes are in have collision even on the parts of them that you cannot normally interact with. So you can just parkour across them and get to that door a lot easier.
Yeah, this skips the need to do either jumps, which can be quite a bit faster and easier. So Sasquatch is now going to FTA, I assume. And Stachifer made it above the door. And now he's going to have to perform what we didn't explain earlier. He has to perform a ceiling warp, where basically if you touch collision from the room, but the game doesn't realize you are actually in that room, the collisions get a bit strange. And one of the things you can do is, if you land in Morph Ball against the ceiling, where it's like kind of thin enough, and you unmorph with a bit of vertical momentum, the game will actually just phase you through the ceiling, back inside the room. So what Stachifer has to do is make sure the game believes he's still in the previous room. And then, oh, that's unfortunate. I think he was trying to position himself, and sometimes the game, when you touch some weird sticky collision, it decides to reposition Samus nearby. And he just got repositioned over the void, and so just fell down though, so he has to either jump now. Oh, and that's Seeker's
in FTA.
So we now have logical access to Taurus through Aegon, actually.
And we have a joke hint.
Stachifer now has to either jump his way back up, unfortunately.
And without that light suit, he is taking constant damage, so he is on a timer.
It's doing it. Oh, so falling a bit down. Yeah, the timing is not that easy. It's not out of bounds in Metroid Prime 1 and 2 are not very intuitive. It takes quite a while to get good at this kind of stuff. Especially either jumping. I should be good enough in height. There we go. Have to be careful to be in the correct room, so right now we're not in the correct room. He's gonna attempt pre-transitioning back, there we go. Now he's gonna attempt to get back in this thing again, this time hopefully without being repositioned. There we go. And now he's gonna morph, we'll lay a bomb. And when he falls back onto the ceiling, he will unmorph. Not the right timing. There you go, and just face through the ceiling. Now it just has to touch the door. And conveniently, this Seeker's door on the other side is just a blue door, and so when you open it, the Seeker lock just disappears like magic. So he's getting a bit low in life now, so...
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he warped onto that Ingvine.
He's probably gonna get a bit of health back. There you go, a nice golden pickup. So a quick little refill, and he's probably on his way to check the hits.
And we see Sasquatch is indeed entering Torvis from the side door.
Not much choice since we still don't have Ember, and I'm assuming they still are not decided to fight worms. But right now we have access to Torvis, we do have the Emerald Translators, we have plenty of hints available. So Torvus is probably what we want to do right now.
I would agree with that.
While Stachifer is checking his STKs. Torvus is wide open right now. Like we have Seekers, we have Emerald, we have Supers. Like the only thing we don't really have is Graph yet, which most likely we need to find for TTE. So, then you're tanking Sank access, Temple access, I mean. Yeah, Ember on Worms does remain a possibility, which I still think would be funny. Checking the passive with hints. Tells us Chica is dead.
As is the dream.
Bosses we're still not aware of are Moss and Amorbis.
Sasquatch is attempting to skip the puzzle in this room by doing a slope jump off that sloped collision. When you jump off of a slope piece of collision in this game, you can get a lot more height than you're intended to get with your jumps.
Yep, in this case it's just enough height that you can then just screw attack directly on top of the bridge, which normally you would not be able to do. Bennett walks side main checked, and it's just a burger. I think at that point we have enough power bombs, so we don't have to go for this. We're now going to check Taurus Temple. Alongside with the energy control that has a hint. And we also have underground tunnel nearby, also has a hint. A nice way to dispatch those parrots quickly is if you fire a super missile as soon as they appear, the super missile will blow both of them up instantly. Another thing you can do is if you fire a charged dark beam shot in the right place at the right timing, you can also get both of the parrots frozen and just kill them with missiles as well. Those are pretty nice ways to dispatch them quickly. We're gonna be seeing what the energy controller has. Meanwhile, Stachifer just came back to the light world. But unfortunately, since they have not checked Faith and Grounds, they do not have light suit yet. And if they do go check FTA at where this peak, what's there, they'll see it's Seekers, and they'll be wondering what the light suit is. Because they do need those Seekers.
And Amorbis is dead. So it is not Amber on Worms.
Yep, that is why we held from going for it this entire time. Worms is the master of baiting. Because due to the way the seas get generated, most of the time Dark Aegon keys are accessible quite early on. It's quite common to have all three early on, even though Worms has nothing. So if you're gonna be picking up that STK that Sasquatch did get long ago. What those dashes? And underground tunnel tells us, well, what we already know. Which is pretty useless because we needed Seekers to enter here in the first place.
It appears there was not money in the day.
Also, the advice of holding L pretty much goes for like 95% of things in this game. You wanna be holding L pretty much all the time.
Hold L to pretend friction doesn't exist.
It makes you walk faster. Stachifer will be checking the hint, and if they know how to pick the item in FTA, they are going to discover the existence of Seekers there. Not having a little trip in the mobile. Oh, I didn't see if Meditation Vista had anything. I don't think so.
It was a missile.
Is Stachifer going to peak FTA? Apparently not, but seems headed to Sank entrance? Because they're probably wondering right now what to do. Because there's not that much left logically for them.
They do have Spider, so they can do this.
But it wouldn't be logical, so they have to wonder if that's a wise decision. So right now they're probably opening the map and checking. They'll probably realize they missed Mineshaft. But we know it is nothing. Sasquatch going for Mining Plaza access, past Mining Plaza. Povus Plaza. Not the same plaza.
And electing not to do Sank entrance.
Fortunately not picking FTA though. So they will not notice the Seekers were right above their heads. And also not doing phasing grounds. Or turning back, or maybe actually. Maybe they just start phasing grounds now. Unfortunately, if they do go there and find a light switch, they're going to have to do the whole detour again to check FTA. Let's see what they decide to do. And here you can jump on the hive. There you go. They'll have a bit of collision. Yep, they're going for phasing grounds. Okay, good. Phew. They are going to find the light switch. Meanwhile, Sasquatch is doing the quick way to do Toast Plaza. If you have boost and Spider with a few well-placed boosts, you can actually clear this whole room in like a few seconds. Which is infinitely better than having to deal with doing this room normally. Okay. Let's try to see what the item is up there. I don't think it's anything, so they're returning back. I think it was just ammo.
So I actually like to do that room without the boosts. So if you just, once you get onto that spider track, if you just drop down into that tunnel, you can actually do a double bomb jump to get yourself essentially above the morph trigger. And if you move very slightly towards the end of the room where Boost Guardian would be in the Dark World version, you can actually trigger an instant unmorph to break the force morph trigger. And then you can just slope jump up to that little platform.
Interesting, I don't think I was aware of that one, as I always pretty much do the boost one. Stachifer is checking Profane Path right now. He was getting the Pirate Commandos, so taking it safe. Well, Sasquatch... ooh, that's Ember! That's Ember! That's Ember in Dark Taurus Arena. That's a place for it to be.
Yep. The only thing we are missing now is Grav.
I can't say I've ever seen Ember be there.
Oh, just barely misses the instant kill.
Still at least gets it before the boosting starts. So we'll take that.
So Boost Guardian is another boss that is incredibly weak to power bombs, except there is a caveat with this one, in that a power bomb will cause it to stagger, and it has several health gates for which it will go into its semi-invulnerable boosting phase. So if you do not time your power bomb right to hit it while it is in its puddle form, you will not kill it instantly and instead get stuck on one of those damage thresholds and have to go through that boost ball phase.
I still do that often myself.
The safest way to avoid that is to wait for it to slash at you and then drop a power bomb immediately, because it'll then drop down into its puddle form and it will get damaged by the power bomb.
Stachifer finding a light suit now.
Now, does he turn around and go for FTA?
And gets eaten by the Metroid. Nope. While Sasquatch continues his trip down Ductals. Red key here, but it is pointless. We know Quad is dead, we know, and we have an Annihilator anyway, and we know Chica is dead, and we have all the Worms key, and Worms is dead anyway. So, well, we don't have any point in picking up any other red keys now. Cache has nothing. They can actually check Poison Bug too, but I don't know if they scan the key bearer hint here.
Amber was right outside of Boost Guardian Wyvern.
Yep. Doctor
And KR is bringing up a good point. We could have Grav on Tumos.
That is still a possibility indeed. But it wouldn't be much trouble now because they already do have everything they need to take Quad and get the energy back.
Grav is an annoying item to have as your last thing for go mode because there are very few checks that it cannot be.
Pretty much. There's very few seeds where it's actually just hard required. Especially if you know a few walk rules.
Or air underwater, which in this case isn't going to help because of TTE.
Yep. Like the only way to skip Grav for TTE is actually to perform a walk roll and position yourself properly out of bounds, and if you fall at just the right angle, you can actually pick up the item through the pipe. But it's pretty precise. That will be the only way to skip Grav right now, else they will have to find Grav. Well, Sasquatch just picked up the SDK that was in Fall Chamber. And oh well, there it is. That's Grav. That's Grav in Venomous Bond. Oh, that wasn't hard to find. We are now in go mode.
Yep, it's just getting the keys.
That was mighty convenient. So he still has to go get the Send Cache key, area training site, Central Area Transport West, Fitting Pete, and Watch Station Access and TTE. So probably the way to route this right now would be to go down to your Underwater Temple, pick up TTE, then take the elevator to Sanctuary. Well, you just pick up ATS, Watch Station Access, and CTW. And then just take the elevator to Aegon to pick Fitting Pits and Cache, and you're on your way out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this seed dawn within the next, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes? I mean, once Stachifer just found the Seekers.
Yeah, it mostly just comes down to movement.
Yep. Now it's all about just getting these as soon as possible. Now Stachifer found the Seekers, I assume, will also go to Taurus via Aegon, but Sally's quite a bit behind now, Sasquatch. Who is in go mode now. We never know what can happen, but it's gonna be difficult to catch up. Sasquatch now heading towards the underworld temple because we do want to pick up the STK TTE. We never find the logical power bombs, and I'm wondering if they're even logical. I don't think we logically need them. Yeah, I don't even think we.
Yeah, I
need
can't think of
logical bombs at
anything
all.
that would have required them.
Because logically, you can. And right now, they could enter through. Obviously, you're not gonna do that because it takes a while. But they could enter through Sank entrance and do the whole loop around. Yeah, you don't even need power bombs for this seed. Yeah, Sank got deleted. Yeah, we're not gonna be staying there long. Like, we're just gonna pop up through the elevator, pick up the 3 STKs that are pretty close to one another, and just leave right away.
Okay, good. Was a little worried that they forgot about TTE for a second there.
Yep. Gonna pick it up now, and be on their way to Sank, most likely. While Stachifer indeed is heading back to Aegon, most likely to go to Taurus. Activate the statue to move it out of the way. And we're on our way to Sank.
Wyvern KR, this is not the place to be having that discussion.
Well, the fastest way to proceed will most likely to unlock the Echo Puzzle, the door, take the portal, and actually climb to ATS directly. Using the screw attack, that probably would be the fastest way. I think that's what they're gonna do. Yep. It's easy to not think about it and go all the way around. It takes much longer to do this. But if you have Echo Visor, and you can just go this way. Go. That should open the door. Go to the way. Then actually jump on top of that gate on the other side.
Ah, the magic of sloped collision.
Yep. It's a bit awkward there, but it's basically there you go. With that, you get into the door. Oh,
That's unfortunate.
We always love those ledges that extend further than they look. Being bullied by the Ink Hunter at the same time. There you go. There you go. Now we climb all the way directly to ATS. And we can't use a portal that's in ATS because we never open the portal on which station, so we just get stuck behind. So Sasquatch will have to go to the portal in Judgment Drop.
Which thankfully is right next to him.
Yep. Conveniently so. Stachifer is doing his own little trip to Tolvis. Fortunately, if I remember, Tolvis itself doesn't really have anything. Basically everything is in Dark Tolvis. That's where we found the Ember and the graph.
Thankfully, he is approaching the portal, so he should have that very soon.
Sasquatch is gonna be grabbing Wood Station access, and I'm probably going down CATW to grab the other key there. And I will just leave Aegon with Sandcash and Fitting Pit. And that is what we see happening. Stachifer actually skipping Plaza access, really good. Because this is actually a game in a bit of time. Doing Plaza access is kind of a 50-50 thing for me. I've often seen things on Plaza access, but Plaza access and especially Plaza can take a while to do. So it can be interesting to skip doing them as well. And I guess Sasquatch is gonna head to the Aegon elevator. Sally is out of power bombs. But he's gonna get one from this nice little turret here. After we blow it to pieces.
We reward excessive force here.
Oh, I'm actually gonna check in case it's something. That's just missiles. Oh, he's starting back altogether. Oh, boy, was another problem. Yep. Because he's never done spot a treasure, which means the tube is still not broken.
And Stash grabs his amber.
And he's gonna be facing the boost gun as well. So if he keeps killing Doctops after that, he will also reach his go mode. See how it is. Oh, Boost Garden sadly did roll away. And unfortunately Boost Garden got staggered and is gonna be morphing. That's unfortunate. This is gonna waste a lot of time. It's possible to shorten the boost phases by a little bit, like if you actually manage to time a bomb, so the bomb explodes on the boost guard and it's boosting around, it actually turns him into a puddle right away. But it's not very easy to do.
Nothing about Boost Guardian is easy to do. I remember hating this part as a kid.
I think we all did. Like I remember, I think the first time I played this game, Boost Guardian is where I ended up like just straight up blocked for I think I stopped playing the game and returned a year later before I was able to beat it. Meanwhile, Sasquatch made it back to Aegon, and he's gonna be grabbing Sandcash, I suppose, and finally Fitting Pit, and we'll most likely see him safe warp his way back towards the final bosses. Stachifer did get a few power bomb drops there, so maybe he'll attempt power bombing the final phase of the boss.
Sometimes watching Boost Guardian can be almost hypnotizing.
It's looking more like a pinball ball than anything else. There you go. This time, that's the end of him. And goodbye. Good riddance. Don't show your face around again.
And 1 hour, 40 minutes in, we are finally entering Sand Cache.
That might be one of the latest sand cache I've seen in Standard Seed. Okay, not the ones where you actually have everything jumbled up in the world. That just leaves Sasquatch was just fitting bit to get. Which is just a formality now, since we've had the light suit for a while now. Stachifer fell on his way back out the Octobus Arena. I have to wait for the...
Now, you can actually get out of this room without... It requires triggering the first part of the platforms, so they disappear, and then as they are reappearing, you roll across them past the second part. You have just enough time to do it if you get it the timing right.
That's a very nice one to know, as this does allow you to clear the Boost Guardian without having boost. Another nice thing to know about Boost Ball though is if you actually release the stick after boosting, you actually get more speed. Because when you actually when you are inputting a direction, you actually get like resistance, which slows you down. And if you actually release the stick completely, the ball actually does roll faster. This has other funny consequences because if you do roll down certain slopes, and like just let your ball roll down without inputting any direction, you can actually end up rolling very fast. So it's a good habit to develop to kind of release the stick completely just after boosting. Just gives you a bit more speed. Sasquatch is getting a little ammo refill, which is quite convenient. This will prevent having to go to the ship for a refill before the final bosses, as he now has all the Sky Temple keys and will be on his way to the final bosses. He was about to head back to the light world, but well, there's no need to because there's a save station in a dark world in the same place. And we just wanna save warp. So it will be faster to just go to this one rather than go back to the light world. Stachifer, I suppose. Oh, is he gonna forget? No. Just remember that there is an STK in Pole Chamber, so we want to grab that. This is pretty interesting because the moment you are go mode, like the keys just fall like flies very quickly.
Yeah, they're like all in a row.
Sasquatch has safe warped and will now be on his way to the final bosses. Now Stachifer just grabbed his Pole Chamber key, which is the second key he acquires. And is just about to walk into Venomous Pond and is going to find his go mode item, the Gravity Boost. And it's pretty likely we'll see him route the same way that Sasquatch did, because at that point they just want to rush the keys.
And the camera not being Stash's friend right there.
Never is. There you go. Just noticed the grav and just have to go grab it. And while the hunter committing self-immolation, I guess the annihilator is too hard to resist. Yeah, you can actually stand on that little thing here, and you can actually make it to the item up there without having grapple or even Scradak at all. The standable is a bit small and a bit awkward to get, but it's a very nice trick to know.
Oh no, don't save warp out of here, Stash. You gotta pick T.
Might be safety saving.
Okay,
Perhaps
you are
attempt to actually
correct.
chasm?
Oh. Yeah, that would be faster.
I guess not. No, just taking a save and getting back out now. I guess now they know they're in go mode, so they're not gonna bother with cash B at all. Probably not feeling confident enough out of bounds to go for something like cash B chasm. Just gonna walk back to the portal and start chasing down the keys. But as they go for that, meanwhile Sasquatch is opening the gate to the Sky Temple. Stachifer is not that far behind. Not sure by how much. Maybe 15 minutes?
Unfortunately, it would take massive catastrophe on Sasquatch's side for him to catch up.
Yeah, it is unfortunately quite unlikely. We never know what can happen, but I don't think Stachifer is about 15, maybe 20 minutes behind at this point. Well, a death or a crash can always happen. Like they can be, like, you can actually crash during Emperor Ing. Notably, if you actually kill him while he's doing his portal attack, you can actually crash the game. We never know, but especially as I don't know when's the last time Sasquatch saved. I don't know if he saved when he did the save warp. But well, it is unlikely. We wouldn't wish that on him, of course.
So we see Sasquatch doing essentially both strats to damage Emperor Ing 1, hitting it with a super missile and uncharged annihilator shots. It takes 4 super missiles to deal with all of EI1's health.
Oh, a good hint. If you get into the pattern where he flails his tentacles like in the circle around himself, you can actually lay a power bomb, and those power bombs will actually hit and destroy the tentacles. It's a quick way to get rid of them. And also, that laser is a menace. But if you actually stand close to Emperor Ing, the laser will actually miss you.
That was exactly what I was about to say. And as he has dealt a significant amount of damage to Emperor Ing, he has to deal with twice as many tentacles.
A few more annihilator shots, and that's phase 1.
Now, with Cannonball, phase 2 is essentially nothing.
Yeah, it is pretty much a cake book. As those little inglets love to troll you, but with Cannonball, you can just ignore them. You can still optimize the fight by getting the tentacles destroyed as fast as possible. That's mostly it. Stachifer found his third SDK. I assume now is gonna head down towards TT. Probably going to scan that elevator. Yep.
Okay, so Emperor Ing 3. Now, in development, this phase of the boss originally had an extra phase where there was going to be some type of armor on its legs that you would screw attack into weak points on its knees. Now, they ultimately cut that, but the hurt box for that barrier still exists in the game. And for some reason, it is coded directly into Emperor Ing's health. So you can just screw attack underneath Emperor Ing and deal damage to it.
Massive damage. That's definitely the fastest way to take this final phase down, and Sasquatch has just done so. That leaves just the escape and Dark Summers in the way to finish this run. Well, I assume Stachifer is making his way to TTE. Yep. Picking up the STK and will be on his way to sync.
And what Sasquatch just did there was he fired off extra shots, so he has exactly enough ammo to fire the exact amount of Annihilator shots he needs to bring Dark Samus 3 to the gate of Dark Samus 4.
Which is 25 Annihilator shot and 1 Polyp shot. It's just enough damage.
So the goal here is to bring her as close to her transition as possible, and then deal a significant amount of damage to break past that threshold without transitioning her. And you can do it in 2 ways. With a super missile or a screw attack, as Sasquatch attempted. Now the hitbox for a screw attack actually extends fairly far out to the side, and that's what you take advantage of for the screw attack, but unfortunately it looks like Dark Samus tanked one of those missiles and transitioned.
The goal usually is you want to try and keep Dark Samus in a DS3 phase, and not let her what we call center, which is what happened there. When she centers, she goes into this phase, which she goes into a phase and ball, and the only way to damage her at this point is to collect those phase and pellets with a charge beam and fire them back at her. The main issue is this is very slow and RNG based, and she sometimes does go back, like that she does go back in her form down there, but the problem is that the damage is capped. You can only do very little damage before she goes back into the ball, and so this is slow and painful. So usually we try to get the whole fight done without letting her go into this phase, ideally. But fortunately, sometimes there is nothing you can do about it. You can be the best player in the world and she will still center.
Now there is one additional thing to be wary of. If you fire a phase-on shot at her while she is lowering her shield, you will actually heal her instead of doing damage.
I'm actually not sure what has happened. Interesting. I don't know if it's a bug or that was actually intended.
I assumed it was a bug.
Stachifer is following the same path that Sasquatch followed for running skis. We're gonna open the Echo Gate, go to the Dark World version of main research, and go up. Just searching where the Echo thing is. They're getting a bit confused because some of these things don't fire directly on the Echo Gate; they fire at somewhere else and it bounces back on the Echo Gate. Well, the Dark Samus 4 fight goes on.
Oh. Yeah, that is what you want to avoid right there.
Yes, and when she does go back down from the phase and phase, you do want to hit her and get her back into that phase like right away, so she doesn't start going around doing stuff. Should be 1 or maybe 2 shots left, and that should be it. Yep, that should be just 1 more shot.
I believe she will not go back down now. If she can be killed by 1 more phase-on shot, she is coded to stay in this phase, so the ending cutscene makes sense.
And this is it. GG's to Sasquatch for winning this race. Stachifer continues collecting the keys. We'll have to see if he decides to go on and finish, or whether he decides to forfeit. In the meantime, we'll probably have our runners coming soon. And we will then be able to ask them about the performance. Stachifer just making it back to the light world. Seems like for now, they are choosing to go on. They're gonna be finding the watch station access key here, and then the one in Central Area Transport West. Oh, he fell down the wrong pipe, sadly. So the way you want to go here is usually you want to go to the leftmost hole, and then you basically go right and then right again, which leads you to the correct path. So we'll have to take the cannon back up there and get the right path this time.
And there goes Cannonball.
Did they ever pick up Cannonball? Oh yeah, they did. So that is indeed Cannonball gone. Which will just be a bit inconvenient for phase 2 of Emperor Eng. Unfortunately, but at that point it wouldn't be worth taking the time to go all the way back around to just take Cannonball. And hello, Baja.
Hello!
Just joined us.
Sass is having a little bit of PC difficulty, but we'll probably try to join when able.
Yep, we'll be waiting to ask some questions.
It looks like they are on the right track here as well, though.
Yep. Oh yeah, there you go, Mo. Just collecting the keys, basically routing the same way as you did to get them.
Okay,
So
yeah, feeding pit send cash left.
Yep, just send cash and feeding pit.
Well, while we're waiting for Sasquatch, what did you think of this seed, Baja?
It's interesting. Early game felt like a little bit of like we spent a really long time in Aegon. We got a bunch of stuff, but nothing that really like the game world didn't really logically open up until really late. And so I was a bit worried, finding out we were go -2 with very few hints available. But then we just kind of stumbled into both things that we needed in the first couple checks we did, or in the first area we went to. So that actually ended up being pretty nice.
Yeah, I think at some point all that was left logically was, I think, Hall of 100 Dead, which could have been Vanilla Seekers, Worms, and Phase and Grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yep.
the choice was made for Phase and Grounds, which ended up being the correct choice, with Light Swoop being there and then leading to Seekers on FTA.
You know, we never found main power bombs. And unfortunately, yeah, Sass's stream crashed right during before credits, so I have no idea where they were.
Yep, we never did find them. Stachifer also didn't find them, but logically they weren't even needed as far as I know.
Oh god, yeah, we could have actually just come in from Sec from the front and looped all the way around.
Yep, you can actually logically enter and then do the whole loop around, and I don't think they were needed at all. I think overall, you actually routed very similarly, like both runners.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were very neck and neck right up until that light suit.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they got lost. They got sidetracked a bit and didn't go straight to face on ground, so they lost a bit of time.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was
eventually
tough.
they got back on track.
I was kind of glad to see. Like, I was annoyed for having spent as much time in Aegon as we did, that we still had to go back to labs when we saw feeding fit was a key. But at least like that ruled out. I was kind of upset by that light suit because it's like, okay, well, we have FTA and feeding fit, which are about as far from each other and from our warp to start as possible. Like, worst case scenario of an item to find there.
Yep. At least you had the SDK hints telling you that fitting pit didn't have progression, so
Exactly,
you just leave
yeah.
that for the end.
Mm-hmm.
That Amber location was also interesting. That was quite a late Amber.
Yeah, just we were trying to be so thorough to find that, so that I wanted to make the go out, get your SDK hints, and go to front Torvis, but like Amber really facilitates that unless you're willing to do go the long way through Great Temple and then also do the kind of one room out of bounds in Path of Eyes, which I don't think Sass had done before, and that one is spooky if you mess it up. So didn't really want to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was telling Sass was potentially gonna ask him to do when we were returning to Light Beam, I think after Temple Grounds. I think a really good route for the seed is to do Ventaria A into backwards labs by doing the one room out of bounds to trigger the Dark Samus fight. Especially with us having Light Beam and supers, you could basically do Light Labs backwards, go into Dark Labs, and then go out through Warrior's Walk and last location of Morbus. I think that's actually a really nice route for this seed.
Actually went and picked up the Emerald in ventilation area right away, but they did turn back and didn't enter labs then.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up finding Suit and the screw attack quite a bit later in the end.
Yeah,
it was still very close. You both were checking the SDK hints within 5 minutes of each other or something.
Oh, nice. Yeah, close.
Man, and Stash is getting Prime 1 dropped on these power bombs.
Yeah, the elevator out of shame. I was miffed when we missiled the Shriek Bats in Aegon Temple Access and got one power bomb. I'm like, oh, come on. You must always get 2 or 3. Then I remembered the ammo station, so it's like, okay, whatever. We just take the ammo.
Stachifer on his way down. Does have to pick up Sand Cash and Fitting Pit, and will be on his way to the Emperor.
This is a nice frame that Sass's stream died on.
That is an interesting frame. It's kind of badass.
Yeah.
I could see that being a wallpaper.
Yeah. Actually, Uncle Reggie went through and took a bunch of screenshots for us to talk about using as the background for this tournament. We have that earlier picture. I think actually that is extremely similar to one of the options that was thought of or considered.
Oh, Stachifer opting to do Fitting Pits first.
I was torn on this. I think this is maybe better, but you lose Cannonball. So since they've already lost Cannonball, this might be better than what we did.
Yeah, they did lose Cannonball and while doing CATW.
Because the only thing that's awkward about this is once you get out of Dark Gate.
Yeah, you need to take Portal Access A, because if you go the other way around, it's definitely slower.
Exactly.
That's the Fitting Pit key. It just leaves Sand Cash. Gotta be careful to not bonk into. Ooh, almost happened. Bonking into the
Yep.
fight there, which I did see Sasquatch do.
It was a bit unfortunate, yep.
Yeah,
Luckily,
so
BBs and Annihilator make it pretty fast.
thankfully, he wanted to pick up that E-tank up there and just bonk into one of the invisible platforms straight into the fight. Stachifer made it to the portal. And we're just a minute away from that last STK. Oh, and we are joined by Sasquatch. GG's.
GG's. Sorry about that. PC crashed and then Windows updates.
Amazing timing.
Most convenient timing, as usual.
Oh, hey, at least that didn't happen 1 minute earlier.
Uh-huh.
Was this the classic, like, you open a browser window and OBS just decides to die horribly? That happens to me sometimes when I open, like, Firefox up while OBS is running. Like, audio source conflict kind of stuff.
I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. My controller vibrated in the end cutscene, fell off my desk, and then NVENC encoding crashed. My interface crashed, like everything. I have no idea.
Oh, well.
And Stachifer finding his last key. Just the final boss left now.
You two were actually very close throughout most of this race. You only really pulled ahead around that light suit.
So what did they end up doing after Phase on Grounds then?
They did go back and get the Seekers, but by that point they had lost a lot of momentum.
Yeah, I think what it did is they ended up going to get the STK hints before going to Phase on Grounds. And then they went all the way to FTA before getting the light suit, but they didn't pick it anyway, so they didn't see the Seekers. And I think after that they got confused for a while, so they were looking at the map, probably thinking like, what's left to do. I think they had Mineshaft left, they had Worms left, obviously. They didn't have the hint yet. And after that they did actually end up going to Phase on Grounds and did pick up the light suit then, but that means they had to go back around again to check FTA, get the Seekers. And I think that did cost them quite a bit of time at the moment.
For perspective, you two were checking hints at roughly the same time.
Both of you did the little wall crawl to check the hints.
Ah,
Nice.
That was interesting because when you did get those hints, like it was basically just Amber and Gravity left for Go mode, and then you just conveniently find both of these unhinted in Dark Taurus.
Yeah, it was fortunate for so like when we were finishing up Purvis Grove, I was telling Sass like I don't mind skipping all 4 of these checks, like Plaza and Boost Guardian, or doing all 4. I think you shouldn't mix and match. I'll leave it up to you. And he's like, let's do them.
I guess
Good choice.
I guess it's either like clean everything, or maybe go down the temple and check the other hints first.
Exactly, yeah.
So, Sasquatch, what are your thoughts on this seed?
Let's see. I mean, I guess since it's done, I feel okay overall. In the early game, going back and forth quite a bit, I got a little worried. I'm like, maybe this is, inefficient, but sometimes it's just the luck of the randomizer.
Honestly, you both ran it the exact same way up until like entering labs the first time, I think, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a bit of a feels bad by the time we finished the Jump Guardian loop, because it's like I don't want to go labs without dark beam, and I don't really want to go temple grounds without power bombs, and we didn't have either. And it's like, ugh, gotta make some bad choice here.
Did you at least find a burger in, I think it was the comms area, or was it the crate? No, it was the comms area, I think, had a burger, so you were able to just go back and check Dynamo Chamber.
Yeah, that felt really good.
I was even surprised, like, when you actually found the Annihilator, and, like, Profane Pass was suddenly in logic. Both of you did, actually no, Stachifer didn't go for Profane Pass, but you did. And I was honestly surprised that there was nothing there. I was kind of expecting, like, Emerald or something.
Yeah, actually, you know, with Emerald, like, we didn't know this at the time, but yeah, Emerald was available really early. So yeah, it's actually quite plausible that something good might have been there.
Stachifer is now opening the way to the Sky Temple and will be fighting the final bosses. Main difference is it doesn't have the cannonball compared to Sasquatch, as he had to lose it in CATW after picking the wrong hole to fall in. So Emperor Phase 2 might be a bit more of a struggle. We'll see how he does. Switching to Light Beam, because that's the beam you want to have when you enter the fight. Another beam, so we missed a bunch of shots there. So we'll have to go again. Going for the power bomb here. And it did not work out because I think of the portal attack. I don't think you can shoot down the tentacles during this phase.
That won't stop me from trying every time I see it.
There's a couple attacks that, yeah, they're kind of invulnerable during, unfortunately.
I do believe you can actually shut down the tentacle maybe just before the attack. Because it is possible to actually cause one of those portals to actually stay open like, through the entire fight, which looks kind of funny. Stachifer trying the light beam to get those final shots. That's just enough. They got into phase 2. Let's see how he does there. No cannonball means those inklets, there we go. Those inklets are gonna be running into him and just pushing him off. It's quite rude. Steady so far. Okay, followed by those inglets.
This was another part I remember hating as a kid.
And he's passed. And now we are going to see him, of course, crew attacking Emperor 3.
You do want to be a little careful there, because that was the attack that could potentially cause a crash. Those beams.
Yep, and Impering very often, or pretty much all the time, does it rather early in the fight. And so if you actually do the square attack like very well, and kill it very quickly, and you can actually end up killing it during that attack, and yeah, that's a crash. So usually in actual runs, you usually see runners wait a little bit before actually starting the square attack to avoid that. Bit too high, that screw attack there. Usually when I screw attack like low to the floor. Should be. Oh, I'm surprised that one didn't do damage. Brain doesn't feel like dying there. Screw attacking too high up is not gonna be touching that hitbox we mentioned earlier, because it is really like low to the floor. So I think he's lost a lot of health. I'm surprised some of these are not hitting.
I am too, but I think he's really high.
Yeah, he. Ah, that's the
Oh,
death,
that is
unfortunately.
unfortunate.
That's unfortunate.
Does seem like he is going back for it though. Yeah, it was just screw attacking too high, so he kept missing the hitbox because it is really low down to the ground. Like this is a fight where you don't want to rush too hard. Like you want to wait until like you're sure like the Emperor Ink does stand in place for a bit, and then you really wanna get that space jump and that screw attack started like low down to the floor. Else you're not gonna be hitting that hitbox. Gonna be seeing Stachifer having another attempt at the fight. These are not the shots. Gonna be enough for one face, sadly.
That was really nicely done, though.
Yep. Ball bomb in the tentacles. That should do the job. There you go. Perfect. There we go. That's good for phase 1. Yeah, to go do phase 2 again. Bit early on the bombs there. Inklets are out for blood on this one.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate he had to lose that cannonball in Cat West.
Should we just 2 more tentacles to go, I think? Yep. There you go, just one more. And we're back on phase 3. Hopefully, Stachifer has a bit more luck this time and does screw attack lower to the floor. It's still too high, sadly. Got a hit in midair, did a bit of damage.
I'm surprised that one didn't do more.
Yeah, still dry, it's not gonna be hitting the hitbox.
That one should have done a nice chunk.
I did a bit, yeah. You can see, you can actually, because the Emperor into that, get pushed back when you get hits. We're gonna bonk into the leg there. Which can cause you to get sent quite far high up if he decides to punch you at the same time. That was a hit, but after that I didn't get any more.
Yeah, it's actually doing a better job of getting the space jump low, but just needs to also delay some of these somersaults, especially when passing under. He's kind of missing some of the opportunity when...
Yep, that's where most of the damage is being missed, yeah. The somersaulting too early. Just a sliver.
Oh yeah, if we just didn't do that last somersault, I think that's a kill. So
Yeah,
sometimes even just like not even trying to
kill.
do your last somersault. There
Yep.
we go, nice.
Especially if there's not that much health left, you can just let your screw attack fall all the way to the floor and it'll just do enough damage to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at
And the
least we
game
get
very kindly gives you a full heal after that.
and a checkpoint as well, so if you die on Dark Samus, you don't have to redo this fight. Child me was very happy about this because I remember getting my my butt kicked by Emperor Ing. Stachifer also getting his ammo down to 25 to get just the random amount of shots for Dark Samus. We're gonna see if he manages to do a bunch of damage before Dark Samus 4, or maybe even skip it. Here, you want to position yourself in such a way that actually screw attack doesn't miss as she goes back down. Oh, sadly, did not get the screw attack there. If you do miss it, you can just wait for Dark Samus to do that attack again, and you can try your luck again. There you go. Like here, basically you just want to stand like behind her and slide to the side, and just screw attack as she falls back to the floor. Screw attack a bit too late, bumped into Dark Samus. Oh, That was a direct missile hit. Sadly, yeah. That pushed her over the threshold and she ascended.
Ah, it seems familiar.
Yeah, I find it much easier to just land a super missile on her as she's getting back up.
It takes a bit of practice to do Scratak 1. So we are now at the mercy of BajaBlood RNG. Fortunately, 2 pellets is not enough to get a phase and shot off.
As long as you just get enough pellets to convert it to a phazon shot, it doesn't matter how many you collect. It does the same damage.
Super missile took her right back into the phase and ball. Well, it's actually more consistent to not be targeting Dark Summers when those pellets fly off, because those pellets love to not fly straight at you and likes to stray off to the sides and hit you instead. Actually, free aiming towards them usually works better.
I cannot count the amount of times that I got hit by one of those pellets the first time I played this game.
Yeah,
I lost to DS4 on timeouts a couple times.
Yeah, I don't know if it was clumsy programming or just they decided to do it just to be annoying. Yeah, it should be just one more shot, and that should be it. Sadly, fired the super a bit too early. Oh, that super actually hit with the
Splash damage, yeah.
splash damage, yes. And that should be it. GG to Stachifer.
Jeez.
We'll be seeing him and Marcus join us now. We'll be able to get their thoughts as well.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Marker.
Stachifer will need an invite. He didn't get one.
Well, I click the thing.
I wonder if it's like Discord names not lined up or something then in the SpeedGaming sign up DB.
Nope, yep. Stasher is saying as Discord equals question mark.
Yep, that'll do her. All right, I'll DM him real quick. Let me know it's coming through. Still nothing yet. is what he is stating. Dun, dun, dun. He's saying still nothing in the DMs for him from SpeedGaming.
Okay, let me see if I can send him the link manually.
Sounds like we're having him.
All right, that's one more up.
Did anyone see where main power bombs was?
Nope.
Oh, I wasn't looking at the crits rolling there.
Hold on, real quick.
Accursed Lake.
And hello, Stachifer. GG's.
Oh, GG.
GG.
Had the perseverance to still finish the seed, especially after that unfortunate death to Emperor Ing there.
With a low time like that being my lowest ever, I still wanted to finish.
That is understandable. So, what do you think about the seed then?
I thought it was pretty cool. Just the only trouble we really had was finding the Amber translator.
Yeah, that Ember was pretty late on, in Torvus even.
So Sasquatch entered at about 1 hour 40 minutes in, which is the latest I have ever seen that room be entered.
Then Cash, you mean?
Yeah, Sandcash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty late one. The STK2, that doesn't happen that often, I find.
So
Yeah, I
Stash,
think,
you and Sasquatch were neck and neck, basically right up until that light suit.
Really?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, you both went on the labs at the same time, like, you did things in slightly different orders. But you were basically in the labs doing about the same things about the same time. And then Sasquatch ended up going towards phase and grounds pretty much right away when they were done. Well, you took a bit longer to end up going there, which is where a lot of time was lost, basically.
Well, I'm really happy to know that we were pretty neck and neck.
Anyway, when STKs were checked, you basically were like just a few minutes behind. Though at that point, Sasquatch had already gotten the light suit, but it doesn't take very long to get that check done. So yeah, you were pretty close until then, basically.
Yeah, I think when we were debating the routing when we were all talking, we hadn't seen, I believe it was Seekers yet. And so when Stachifer and I were talking, we're like, well, in order to get into Torvis or really anywhere at all, we needed seekers because PBs weren't found and seekers were nowhere to be found. So we had no access anywhere else. We just kept clearing and clearing. But unfortunately, I think that was our downfall, is that time spent clearing extra things, if I was to guess.
Not by that much, because Sasquatch did end up clearing quite a bit as well, like most of Aegon. So I just think that they just thought of phasing grounds a bit faster, basically. I think was the difference.
Yeah, basically what killed you guys was that you had to go back to FTA after you got that light. Since Sasquatch, the light suit before he went to Hints, just go back into the light world and continue on to FTA.
Yeah, that did cost quite a bit of time, unfortunately. Because both of you basically cleared all of Aegon. I think Sasquatch spent a bit more time because he did check in cache too, and I think you did as well, but like later, if I remember right. I'll fully remember the order of things.
It was a little hard to keep track of your early game since we were just getting still frames for a couple seconds.
Oh yeah, the stream was not very watchable for a little while. I think you also lost a bit of time because when you got a Dark Visor, you immediately went to Battleground. Then you didn't find anything there, and then you went to Incash 4, so you kind of had a bit of backtracking there as well. That also lost a bit of time. Oh yeah, one question to everyone here: how tempted were you by the Worm's bait?
Well, with the keys so early, it stuck in the back of our minds. Me and Baja kept going back and forth on it.
Yeah, because it got down to very few checks still in logic, including worms. So it would have been interesting to see something like Ember on worms. That did not happen, obviously.
Yeah, the one thing I always think about though, and this is true for other games as well, is I think just the time sink of a boss fight kind of steers you a little bit away from it.
Pretty much, it is pretty risky to go for worms because, well, often they have nothing, and you're pretty much guaranteed to stumble on sooner or later on the hint that says what is there anyway. So, but who knows? Maybe one day we'll see someone play the worms and actually find something there. Who knows? But that wasn't this day. None of you fell for it, so that didn't end up being a factor anyway. Outside of that, I don't know if there's much more to say about this seed. To be fair, like the start was a bit muddled, but once that was settled and once light suit plus seekers were fine, it ended up becoming pretty linear. Because both of you after that went to Torvis, cleared around a bit, went to Dark Torvis, found Ember and Grav, and that pretty much was it at that point. You both routed the same way to grab the keys, pretty much. So there wasn't that much to discuss really at that point. Don't know if you got any other final thoughts about this seed.
Not that hasn't been talked about already.
I guess we can end it here then.
I just wanted to state super proud of Stachifer, not only for the perseverance, but for basically, I think that was a sub 2:30, so lowest time since starting mentoring. And I just wanted to say congratulations to both. And Stachifer, I'm just really glad that it was that close, and you've improved so much. Awesome job.
Yep, well,
GG's to you all.
GG's as well, and thank you for the praise.
Yeah, good luck to both of you in the subsequent rounds. Thank you both, Rico and Storm, for doing commentary tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks the runner for playing. Thanks the mentor for mentoring them. And tomorrow we're actually having 3 races, pretty much overlapping each other. I'm not sure how that will go, but definitely stay tuned. With that, we'll say goodbye to you all and see you next mission.
See you next mission.
Take care, folks.
See you next mission. Bye.